Ladies and gents, welcome back. Today we're talking about Marco Mendicino, aka Pinocchio, in the House of Parliament. He's most notably famous for his bald-faced lies that the RCMP and police services in Ottawa had requested the Emergencies Act be invoked by the Liberal government. This turned out not to be the case. We have plenty of video of him saying that. Now he's walking it back and saying he was misunderstood. He may be in hot water today because of allegations of him falsifying documents to defraud an organization of a trademarked name. Now, here's some of the footage of him lying, bald-faced lies here. This is Marty up north, who is a friend of the channel here, tweeting out, Mendicino is the biggest liar and a threat to Canadians. This is a tweet saying, Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino's office now claiming he was misunderstood when he said police advised the Liberal government to use the Emergencies Act. Here's a clip of him saying that, exactly that, about a dozen times in the House of Commons. What is there to misunderstand?
We invoked the Emergencies Act after we received advice from law enforcement. The advice we received was to invoke the Emergencies Act. Look, I don't want to speak for every last serving member of law enforcement, but there was a very strong consensus that we needed to invoke the Act. We invoked the Act because it was the advice of nonpartisan professional law enforcement. The advice that we were getting was that that law enforcement needed the Emergencies Act. It was only after we got advice from law enforcement that we invoked the Emergencies Act. And that advice came from very experienced law enforcement. We had to invoke the Emergencies Act, and we did so on the basis of nonpartisan professional advice from law enforcement. And that was the advice that we were receiving from law enforcement, and one of the main reasons why we invoked the Emergencies Act. We got the advice from our law enforcement that we'd met the threshold. They then came to their judgment, as you say, and thereafter, we came to ours on the basis of the advice that we were getting from law enforcement.
Yeah, so it turns out none of that was true. He was not advised from the police or the RCMP to invoke the Emergencies Act. Now he's in hot water today. Mendicino's department. So a lot of different articles about this morning. I chose the Counter Signal. I tend to like their articles, but I'm definitely going to leave a link in the description down below. Please share it out. Get your friends reading this. Get more clicks on these articles. Federal Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino is back in the limelight, but for misleading the public, this time backdating government documents in an apparent effort to mislead the court. Access to information records reveal. According to Blacklock's reporter, this instance dates back to Mendicino's time as the federal immigration minister when Parliament passed a College of Immigration and Citizenship's Consultant Act in 2019. The government ran into issues because the name College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants was already trademarked by a private Vancouver company. So SOL, make another name, come up with another thing. No, Mendicino allegedly did not want to just come up with another thing. He decided it would be better to backdate. Well, let's keep reading. On November 20, 2020, Crown lawyers attended a federal court injunction hearing on Trademarks Act dispute while immigration staff stressed the importance of proclaiming the act, according to Blacklock's reporter. The hearing on November 20 was premised in the College Act properly being proclaimed, said Justice Janet Fuhrer. Crown lawyers were duty-bound to bring the court's attention to the development of the proclamation of the act, the judge said. On the day of the hearing, the Privy Council office published an order in council implying that the act was in force. The notice included a date modified at entry April 31st, 2017. There are only 30 days in April. Meanwhile, the act was not in force. An email between Department of Immigration lawyers acknowledged that the act would not be enforced until December 9th, Blacklock's reporter found. Mendicino has a pattern of misleading the public, most notably in his web of disinformation about why the federal government invoked the Emergencies Act against the peaceful Freedom Convoy protests in February. Okay, and then it goes on to that. Now, what's going on here is we have a situation where he allegedly falsified documents in a court proceeding, and this is bad news. I mean, we've all done government paperwork where it says you have to sign an affidavit. I swear that this to be true. This is a thing. This is what you do in all courts. Now, the punishment could be, I'm not sure exactly, but I know when you falsify a document, they always tell you could be a few $100,000 or up to 5 years in jail. Now, we're not sure what's going to happen here. But this is we have a history of this guy trying to cover his tracks and do this. The minister insisted for months that the law enforcement requested that the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, invoke the law. The RCMP and Ottawa Police eventually said they did not ask for the act to be used. We went over that. To cover up his tracks, Mendicino's office had his underlying deputy ministers, Rob Stewart, say that Mendicino was misunderstood when he said about 24 times that the police requested the emergency powers. During a press conference in Ottawa, the minister alleged that the protesters at the Coutts border, which was shut down after firearms were found, had ties to far-right groups protesting in Ottawa's Freedom Convoy. He walked back those comments after journalists questioned his remarks. Read about all the times Mendicino engaged in disinformation about the Freedom Convoy here. Again, click the link in the description down below. There's lots of more articles, good information that you can get from this here. Now, I posted it out on Twitter. Mendicino lied to the Canadian public. Now it looks like he may have falsified documents and lied to a judge. Will another corrupt politician walk? And I gotta say, a lot of people's sentiment about this is more cynical than serious, and for good reason, because we've watched so much controversy, so many scandals go through this Liberal government that people are just, no, these guys are above the law. They can do whatever they want. This is the consensus among so many people. Yep, he'll walk. Of course he will. He's a Liberal. He's a male. The others that stood up to Trudeau, female, suddenly had to walk. Macaroni will still have his job. Sure thing. He will. The justice system is paid off by the corrupt Liberals. Of course he will. They all do. Somehow in politics, lying is the key. Honesty is a taboo and will always be for them. Too many folks admire and truly trust them. Of course, the Liars logo. That's great. Right to mail. Yep, they all walk. None are held accountable. Liberal equals yes, he'll walk. They all need to walk. They're so corrupt. Trudeau will not fire him. He does a number of PMs. If he does, a number of PMs would walk the floor. All we need is one to crack this government, and it'll come apart. The tree dies from the top. Well, that would be true if... that would need to be true first before an answer could be formulated. Absolutely. These are allegations. We'll see how this pans out, but I'm hoping that at some point, because most of us, if we committed an alleged fraud, the RCMP would look into this. A judge would have the RCMP look into this if it was reported that one of us plebs out there in the world falsified a document in order to get our way and possibly defraud an organization that had already trademarked a particular name. I'm not sure what his motivations were for this, other than just, I don't want to change the name, and let's just backdate something to make sure we don't have to. But here we are in a situation where he has been caught lying in an official capacity, and we'll see if these allegations turn into something concrete. Now, we can only hope. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about this situation. Do you think he'll walk? Are you as cynical as most people on Twitter are? And, well, I mean, Twitter's cynical. It's just the way things are. So leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Now would be a great time to consider subscribing to the channel. If you have been watching these videos and you're not yet already subscribed, please do so. Consider that now. Hit that notification bell because it lets you know when I go live. I go live every Friday at 6:30 Pacific time, but sometimes on weekdays I get special guests and we do a special live event. So please hit that subscribe notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.